What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Leo coming to you guys with yet another video. Coming to you guys today with another reaction video. Today we're checking out 10 worst WWE matches of 2018. We can all agree there was been some very interesting matches that happened in 2018. Some that you wouldn't think to be on this list. I mean, this was the year that we had Shinsuke win the Rumble to go up against AJ and to face him for WrestleMania for the WWE Championship, and unfortunately, that match did not amount to much at all, on all honesty. We also got Asuka versus Carmella, I think, at Money in the Bank. That feud really wasn't it. The Daniel Bryan and Big Cass feud wasn't it either. So we've had some questionable decisions that were being made in 2018. But we're going to get into it. We're going to see what Cultaholic deemed worst WWE matches of 2018. So let's get into it.
Giving them something else. Okay, so that's enough. 2018 was the year of WWE fans wanting one thing and the company giving them something else. Okay, so that was a lot of years between 2002 and 2022, but this year was especially bad for it. Not only did we get Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar's original endless feud, but it also saw Asuka's undefeated streak come to an end, Hulk Hogan return to WWE after his scandal, and WWE head to Saudi Arabia for the first time. As if all of that wasn't enough, we've rounded up 10 of the absolute worst wrestling matches from the year as well. Aren't we nice? The majority of them are on this list because of the booking decisions made surrounding them. Whether it was the wrong winner, a clumsy finish, or just an out-and-out mistake, these bouts all disappointed wrestling fans in one way or another. But don't worry, there are some good old-fashioned bad matches on here too. As I said, we're bloody great, aren't we? I'm Adam Pacitti from Cultaholic Wrestling, and these are the 10 worst WWE matches of 2018. Join us. Number 10, Carmella vs. Asuka at Money in the Bank. Beginning his solo career in 2016 as a victim of...
I mean, you've had her lose to Charlotte at WrestleMania. Now, I will say the match between the two was really good. The chemistry that they had going into the match was very good for sure. But however, the winner of the match was not it. I think Charlotte did not really need to win that match. I think Asuka should have won that match to continue her streak, and the fact that you pretty much had Charlotte beat Asuka, but literally that same week, I believe, she gets cashed in on by Carmella and beaten by Carmella numerous times. So it kind of made Asuka look even weaker in the grand scheme of things as well. And then when she did get into the title contention with Carmella, she couldn't even beat Carmella, and it just really ruined her stock for sure, because a lot of people looked at it as one of the most dominant forces to ever step foot in the WWE ring, just based off of how she was being portrayed and being booked in NXT. So it was crazy to see how things really went.
Braun Strowman, James Ellsworth's underdog persona got so over that he soon found himself in the main event storyline on SmackDown. A combination of overexposure and some serious allegations of misconduct have since tarnished Ellsworth's name, but there was a time where he was all over WWE's product. Unfortunately, that includes the SmackDown Women's Championship match at Money in the Bank 2018. 1 year after ruining the first Women's Money in the Bank ladder match, Ellsworth was back again to ruin this contest as well. He appeared dressed as Asuka during the closing moments of the Empress's title bout with Carmella. This distracted her long enough for Carmella to hit Asuka with a kick and pin her to retain the championship. This was Asuka's second ever televised WWE loss, and fans were furious that she was booked to lose in such a stupid fashion. This match is one that WWE will be in no hurry to remind you of for a variety of reasons. Number 9, Gallows and Anderson versus The Revival at Raw 25. The team currently
See what he says about this match, because on paper the match between the two sound like could be really good. I mean, Gallows and Anderson, I mean, granted they're not really doing much current day, but we can't deny that they're one of the best tag teams for sure in all of pro wrestling, honestly, if given the opportunity to. FTR currently right now, like, they are literally like tag team. They're the heart and soul of tag team. I will say that.
known as FTR, had a rough go of it on the WWE main roster. They lost big matches, suffered a bunch of injuries, and were routinely humiliated by the company that was supposed to be promoting them. One of the most egregious examples of this came on the 25th anniversary of Monday Night Raw. Dash and Dawson, as they were known in those days, interrupted a segment featuring DX, Scott Hall, and the Balor Club. This led to a match with Anderson and Gallows that the former Bullet Club men won in under 2 minutes. After losing in swift fashion, the Revival were embarrassed further when the Legends proceeded to absolutely annihilate them with their finishers, ending with a sweet chin music pedigree combo on Dash Wilder. While it was fun to see some Legends in action, DX standing tall came at the expense of a fantastic duo. Anyone who hadn't seen Dash and Dawson's incredible matches in NXT would have thought they were nothing more than a joke, and it's not surprising that they wanted out ASAP. Number 8, Jeff Hardy vs Jinder Mahal at the Greatest Royal Rumble.
Yeah, this had to be on that list. I mean, you're coming off pretty much Jinder Mahal winning the U.S. Championship at WrestleMania, and then losing it the very next week to Jeff Hardy. Then he pretty much getting a rematch, and let's just say the match really was not good whatsoever. I still remember this one particular spot where I think Jeff Hardy was going for like a whisper in the wind on Jinder Mahal, and he didn't connect whatsoever with Jinder Mahal, and Jinder Mahal still sold it like he actually got hit. Like, are we serious right now?
WWE's first big trip to Saudi Arabia took place in April 2018 and was, in the grand scheme of things, pretty decent. Sadly, in amongst the ladder match for the IC Championship and the 50-man Royal Rumble, there was one definite dud on the night, and it came in the form of Jeff Hardy defending his US title against Jinder Mahal. Few have connected with an audience quite like Jeff Hardy, but he's not always been the type to carry someone to a great match. And Jinder, who had just come off the back of his disastrous WWE Championship reign, could have used some help restarting his momentum here. Sadly, the bout was very slow and clunky, with several missteps and outright botches throughout. The most noteworthy came when Hardy attempted a whisper in the wind on Jinder, only to miss it completely. But don't worry, Jinder managed to cover it up with some top-notch selling, flopping to the ground despite being nowhere near Jeff's move. Ah well, at least this show wasn't as bad as the next time the company would go to Saudi Arabia. Don't worry, we'll get to it. Number
when you want to create something that can...
7, Dean Ambrose vs Seth Rollins at TLC.
Yeah, this match wasn't good either, and it should have been. It realistically should have been. Two former Shield members who just have a lot of history with each other should have made for a great, or at least a solid pay-per-view match, and we didn't even get that either. It's crazy to me. Like, you had Dean Ambrose turn on Seth Rollins right after Roman Reigns announced that he was battling leukemia, which made the moment itself of him turning heel even better. But then the execution was the problem. They really didn't do anything with this new iteration of Ambrose as a heel. They pretty much turned him into like a germaphobe, pretty much, where he pretty much was wearing gas mask and getting shots injected into him, which was pretty much stupid. And then he said a promo that he didn't want to say, which was talking about, Roman got what was coming and stuff like that. So, I didn't like the fact that they really decided to do something like that, which was not really okay. And it kind of just pushed the limits way too far, in my opinion. And I feel like the thing with this, with it being TLC, there should have been a stipulation for this match. I feel like if this match would have had a stipulation, I feel like the match probably would have been a little bit better. I know we did see Seth Rollins versus Baron Corbin, like the go-home show to TLC that year, when he faced Baron Corbin in a ladder match, which was kind of stupid in my personal opinion. We could have just had a regular match, and then we could have set up a ladder match for this match here, because I think this would have been a great stipulation for this match for sure, knowing that they competed in previous ladder matches before. I mean, we go back to Money in the Bank 2014, competing in the Money in the Bank ladder match, and then a year later for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship in a ladder match as well. So there's been some some history between these two when it comes to these latter matches, and then Ambrose winning the Money in the Bank to cash in. So I think it would have been a great idea to kind of revisit that stipulation for this Pacific feud, but they really didn't capitalize on this feud like they should have, and this pretty much was the beginning of the end for Ambrose in WWE.
What should have been a very emotionally charged encounter turned out to be one of the most disappointing matches of the year. Ambrose was fresh off a shocking heel turn after betraying a babyface Seth Rollins. Ambrose then cost the pair their Raw Tag Team Championships before demanding a match for Rollins' IC belt. This had all the potential for an all-out war, a grudge match where all wrestling convention could go out the window. These two men absolutely hated each other and were ready to tear each other apart to get their revenge. What followed instead was 23 minutes of slow, evenly paced wrestling, eventually leading to Ambrose getting the win. Fans were baffled by the way this match was laid out. The story between Ambrose and Rollins should have led to a brutal fight instead of a tedious, quite boring match that went on way too long. In the grand scheme of things, it was pretty fine, but the storyline called for something much greater. Then again, considering this was the feud that saw Dean get injections in his ass, maybe we shouldn't have been that surprised. Number 6, Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman at Hell in a Cell.
This match wasn't good either. It really wasn't. Like, Roman and Braun really don't have the best chemistry in my opinion. And then the fact that really pissed me off in this match is the fact that in DQ, because Brock Lesnar got involved and pretty much beat up on Roman and Braun, and Braun was cashing in his Money in the Bank, and it pretty much just wasted the Money in the Bank for him. And it wasn't really his fault. It was really Brock Lesnar getting involved and everything like that. So it pissed me off in the sense of, like, what was the point of that? You didn't need Brock to come in, and I mean, if you wanted to, fine, but it didn't work, because it's like, why did you have a stipulation like this that's supposed to have no rules end in a double DQ? Somebody explain that to me. A match that's supposed to be no rules, no DQs, only pinfall or submission, ending in a DQ. And this wasn't even the only one.
Only WWE could undermine two of their biggest stipulations in the same match. But that is exactly what happened when Braun Strowman cashed in Money in the Bank to challenge Roman Reigns inside Hell in a Cell. To give them credit, the match itself was good. Both performers have great chemistry, and there were run-ins from each man's respective faction, including Seth Rollins and Dolph Ziggler plummeting off the side of the cage. And then Brock Lesnar arrived, and oh dear. The Beast Incarnate made his return after several months away, kicking down the door of the cell and laying out both competitors with F5s. This left them unable to continue, ending the match in a no contest. That's right, Hell in a Cell, supposedly the most punishing, violent stipulation in WWE history, ended via ref stoppage. Make it make sense. WWE had obviously booked themselves into a corner here. They didn't want either Reigns or Strowman to lose, but had to put them inside the cell because of the pay-per-view stipulation. Number 5, Brock Lesnar versus Braun Strowman at Crown Jewel. The entire
was dumb too. Now, I understand the reason why this match happened, because it was supposed to be a triple threat for the Universal Championship. Roman Reigns was supposed to go in as the champion and defend it in a triple threat, but you had to pull it out because he was battling leukemia. So I do understand that this match was going to happen, which was going to crown the new Universal Champion. But Baron Corbin pretty much getting in this match and hitting Braun Strowman with the title, and it's pretty much became a squash match. Like, okay. It didn't do anything for Braun Strowman in the grand scheme of things either, so.
Purpose of the rubbish Hell in a Cell finish we just talked about was to set up a three-way Universal Championship match for the next Saudi Arabia show. Reigns, Strowman and Lesnar would go at it for the title at Crown Jewel, but fate intervened to cost us what would have been a cracker of a match. Sadly, Roman was diagnosed with leukemia. He announced this to the wrestling world on Raw, leaving Lesnar and Strowman to face off for the vacant championship. Fans were hoping for a clash of the titans, two big boys colliding head-on, with Strowman avenging his loss to Lesnar from from the year before. Instead, Raw General Manager Baron Corbin, remember that, clocked Strowman with the belt before the bell. This wasn't the end of the match though, because it then took 5 F5s for Lesnar to beat Strowman and reclaim his precious red belt. Despite sounding like it would protect Strowman in defeat, the multiple F5s just dragged out what was already a train wreck of a championship match. If WWE wanted Braun to look strong, then they should have probably just given him a competitive showing against the Beast. Instead, all we got was 3 minutes of our lives we're never getting back. Number 4, Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe at Backlash. One of them is Samoa Joe.
Promos were good in the lead up to this match, but the match itself, not very, very good. And I would think that Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe would have, better matches under their belt with their history and everything like that, but it just never really did anything. I feel like maybe it was the era that we were in. Vince really was never really a fan of Samoa Joe, and it showed, because there's been numerous times where they had an opportunity to have him break through that glass ceiling, and really become a bigger star, and they just chose never to go through with it.
Oh, the other is a Samoan called Joe. What could possibly go wrong? Well, as it turns out, everything. Backlash 2018 was already a cursed show when Reigns and Joe met in the main event. This one really needed to deliver in order to win the crowd back, but instead, WWE got the tone all wrong. Reigns versus Joe was really, really slow. And not slow in an old school methodical way, slow in an 87-year-old grandpa going to the toilet way. It's worth noting here that Samoa Joe had built up a huge amount of popularity, particularly with pay-per-view crowds, which generally tend to be slightly more representative of smarky internet opinions. To put it bluntly, the fans desperately did not want Roman to win. As well as booing the big dog, the audience also chanted for CM Punk, Rusev Day, and just about anything else that wasn't Roman Reigns. The toxic reaction only intensified as the match reached its climax, peaking when Roman won with a spear. The only reason the boos weren't louder was because a lot of people had already left the building.
Hey, did you know you might get a big cash payout if you were in a car accident in the last year? Yep, even if you weren't.
Number 3, Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 34.
This was just god awful. Nobody cared for either one. Nobody cared. Nobody wanted to see. Nobody cared for Brock Lesnar being the champion and just pretty much holding that title hostage. But people didn't care for Roman Reigns either, because we knew what the WWE were doing, and they kept shoving him down our throats time and time again, when, pretty much the fans were very vocal that they didn't want Roman whatsoever. So, yeah, this wasn't a match that people want to go back and remember at all.
4. The build-up to the main event of WWE's biggest pay-per-view was a disaster in 2018. Roman Reigns had been pushed to the moon in spite of bad fan reaction, again, and Universal Champion Brock Lesnar had been almost totally absent from TV in the weeks leading up to WrestleMania. Fans were more than ready for the Lesnar-Reigns rivalry to be over, even reluctantly accepting the latter should win the Universal Championship at Mania, but WWE didn't listen. Reigns and Lesnar must have turned unlimited finishers on for this match because they just kept spamming their biggest moves over and over. Spears, Superman punches, German suplexes, and F5s. These moves made up about 90% of the match, with Brock eventually coming away victorious. Unfortunately, neither the winner nor the action landed with the tired New Orleans crowd. Not only was this one of the weirdest and worst WrestleMania events of all time, it also meant that the rivalry wasn't over. It was a bad showing all round, especially considering that fans had waited about 7 hours to see it close out the biggest show of the year. Number 2, Shane McMahon versus Dolph Ziggler at Crown Jewel. Vince McMahon.
Yeah, this match wasn't good either. I wasn't a fan of the Crown Jewels until later on. So that should tell you something.
And had obviously been watching old football matches in 2018 because he had World Cup fever at Crown Jewel. WWE decided they had been messing around for too long. It was time to find the best wrestler in the world once and for all. So naturally, the final came down to Dolph Ziggler versus The Miz. Except it didn't, because Miz injured himself before the match could officially begin. So who took Miz's place? You guessed it, the world's sweatiest man, Shane McMahon. man. The SmackDown commissioner took on Dolph in the final, and because of course he did, came out on top to be officially crowned the best wrestler in the world. Take that, Bryan Danielson. Up yours, Kenny Omega. Go to hell, Von Wagner. There's a new GOAT in town, and he wears sweet baseball jerseys. Number 1, the Brothers of Destruction versus DX at Crown Jewel.
And me and this crazy, I was just on my good old buddy's Chris's channel last night. We were just talking about Bad Blood, and we were talking about some different things as well. And we were talking about this actually came up in the conversation. On paper, right? On paper, the match was a dream match for sure. For a lot of people, people always wanted to see DX versus the Brothers of Destruction. And on paper, I think a lot of people probably would have been okay with seeing it, maybe having Shawn Michaels come back for like maybe one more hoorah or something like that. But this match was not good whatsoever. It didn't hit on anything. I think there has been like so many botches that happened throughout this match that I can't really name honestly. But the match really was not good. And I think after this, Shawn Michaels made it very clear he does not want to come back. But he did say he has that itch to come back. But I don't know. After this match, I don't know.
I honestly don't even know where to start with this one. First of all, the combined age of the people in this match was over 200. Second of all, nobody was wrestling on a full-time schedule, which led to the best move of the entire match being Kane's mask falling off. I'm only half joking when I say that. And finally, the thing that makes this match stink above everything else is the fact that this was the reason Shawn Michaels came out of retirement. 8 years after his emotional farewell at WrestleMania 26, the showstopper got back in the ring and, well, let's just say we were all heartbroken. Kids. There's no way of saying it nicely. This match was almost half an hour of botched moves, poor sequence.
Yeah, this was, like you said, half-hour botched moves, and that didn't really help the match try to elevate to a different level for sure. But comment down below, let me know what matches do you deem as worst of 2018. If they were on this list, let me know what they were and why do you feel like they were the worst match in your opinion. And if they weren't on this list, let me know what you feel like is the worst match. If they weren't on this list and everything like that, I would love to hear what you guys have to say in the comment section down below. Super kick that like button, helps my channel get pushed across the platform so more people can see what I'm doing over here on YouTube. Superman punch the post notification bell so another time I post a new video, whether it's a reaction video, rant video, live stream. You can be in the loop of things when I do drop a video, and spear the subscribe button. Takes 3 seconds out of your day to do is 3 things for me, helps out in the progression of my channel, road to 350 subscribers, but the ultimate goal is 10k. When I do hit 10k, I will do a giveaway with one of my lucky subscribers. Will have the opportunity to win a WWE championship from WWE Shop View. So if you want to be a part of that and be that potential lucky subscriber that does win, subscribe to my channel. It's absolutely free. You can always change your mind in the future. But while you want to do that, I'm trying to give you guys daily wrestling content. The grind does not stop. I know Raw is happening tonight for it's going to be a 2-hour show. I'm considering streaming that tonight, so be on the lookout for that as well. More content is on the way this week as well. Stay tuned. Hope everybody has a great day and a great week, and I'll see you guys in the next video.